Good Sunday morning. I'm Carly Barnett. It's 7 o'clock, and here's what we're working on right now. Jackson Memorial Hospital is treating many coronavirus cases, and now the hospital is mourning the loss of one of their own after a veteran nurse dies from the virus. In testing trouble at Hard Rock Stadium, some people who were tested for COVID-19 have to go back. Why they have to be tested again.
We're also going to work to put one up on I-95 for any type of New York area traffic.
Governor DeSantis taking steps to keep cases out. Where else he wants to add coronavirus checkpoints.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
7 o'clock on Sunday, March 29th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carly Barnett. Let's get our first check of our Sunday morning forecast with meteorologist Jennifer Correa. Jennifer.
Hey there, Carly. Hi there, South Florida. So we're waking up a bit warmer this morning.
We begin with the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. This morning, a total of 3 people have died from COVID-19 in Miami-Dade County. 11 have died in Broward. They are included in the 56 people the Department of Health says have died across the state. And as the number of deaths goes up with more testing, so do the number of cases. There are now more than 1,100 total cases in Miami-Dade, 820 in Broward County. A total of 22 people in Monroe County have COVID-19. And this morning, more than 560 people are hospitalized across the state. We now know the latest death in Miami-Dade is a nurse who spent more than 30 years trying to save other people who were sick. CBS 4's Mike Cunio has more from Jackson Memorial Hospital, where that woman worked.
We now know 2 of the 3 coronavirus-related deaths in Miami-Dade County. CBS 4 This Morning.
And this morning, coronavirus testing is set to continue at several sites around our area, and a big one in Miami-Dade is at Hard Rock Stadium. That's been busy all week, hundreds of people lining up, but now some have to go back and be tested again. CBS 4's Ty Russell continues our team coverage and tells us what went wrong.
This sign tells drivers coronavirus testing continues Sunday morning at Hard Rock Stadium. CBS 4 This Morning.
And we are learning what's being done to stop the spread of the virus statewide. Governor Ron DeSantis says he is stepping up checkpoints to make sure sick people coming from the hardest hit areas follow all the rules.
So we instituted a 14-day self-quarantine for everyone coming in from those airports in the New York City area. Every time they come in, they're now met by National Guard and Department of Health personnel. They're screened, they provide information, and they are given the instructions about self-isolation. We're also going to work to put one up on I-95 for any type of New York area traffic coming down. And again, the point is we need those folks coming in to self-isolate for 14 days.
The governor also set up a checkpoint for those entering the state from Alabama. He is considering another checkpoint at the Florida-Georgia line. We also learned from the governor that the FDA has approved a new test that only takes 55 minutes to determine if someone is infected with COVID-19. The state's going to try to get its hands on as many as possible to speed up that testing. Governor DeSantis also says hospitals around the state are only about a third full this morning. About 2,100 ICU beds are still available. Now, we know you have questions about the coronavirus, and Florida continues to staff a hotline. It is open 24/7. That number is on your screen. There's also an email address you can send your questions to, which is COVID-19 at flhealth.gov. We have new details about a Holland America cruise ship where 4 guests have died. It may be coming to Port Everglades after all. That's because the Zaandam has been given permission to clear the Panama Canal. Now, before, as we reported yesterday, the Panama Canal Authority said it would not let the ship pass through, but they've reversed their stance. Panama is just waiting on clearance from its health department. No word yet when or if it will arrive at Port Everglades. Several people on board the ship did test positive for the virus, but it's not clear if that's what caused the deaths. And this morning, a Navy hospital ship is on its way to New York City. It's ready to help hospitals overwhelmed with coronavirus patients in the epicenter of the nation's outbreak. Across the United States, more than 2,000 people have died. CBS 4's Nicole Killian has the latest.
President Trump saluted a farewell to the U.S. Naval Hospital ship Comfort. CBS News, the White House.
Last night, the CDC issued a travel advisory urging New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut residents to avoid non-essential domestic travel for 2 weeks, starting now. The Javits Convention Center in New York City has been converted into a temporary hospital. The center can treat up to 1,000 patients. This is just one of many temporary hospitals Governor Andrew Cuomo hopes to build in the New York City area. And in California, another Navy hospital ship, just like the one that will arrive in New York, is ready to treat patients. The ship has 1,000 beds, and it can help take the burden off hospitals on land. But the mayor of Los Angeles still says the city could face a New York-level crisis.
This will be a COVID-19 free bubble. Every bed not taken in Los Angeles by the great work of the men and women here will mean one more bed for the surge that the governor spoke about.
Nearly 40 million people in California are being told to stay home. And this morning, the city of Los Angeles is partnering up with UPS to pick up home COVID-19 testing kits. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning, is Florida ready? Our Jim DeFede joins us live to discuss if hospitals and healthcare workers have what they need to stay safe. That's ahead at 7:30. But first, spring break is ending and schools are back in session tomorrow. Now, Broward County students have the tools to help them learn. And while technology is helping in the classroom, it's also helping many people who can't go to Sunday services. Instead, they are streaming online. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. 7:15. Students head back to class online tomorrow, and Broward County schools are making sure they are ready to learn. The district loaned out nearly 16,000 computers and tablets to students yesterday, and that's in addition to the 64,000 they gave out more than a week ago. The district says it wants to make sure all students have access to their online classes.
These loaner laptops are really going to make a difference in teaching and learning. And so our students are so excited, our teachers are excited, and we're excited as leaders of our school to be able to offer this and make this opportunity available so that instruction is not interrupted.
I'm happy that the school is providing us with resources to complete our work even though we're not in class.
Unlike in Miami-Dade, Broward County did not have online classes before spring break, so tomorrow will be the first day. Dozens of charities are helping out people who are struggling right now, and that includes Feeding South Florida. They teamed up with Miramar City commissioners to give out fresh meals and produce. Cars lined up to get one of these care packages, and Miramar City Commissioner Yvette Colburn says more people came out than she even expected.
We are a little bit surprised with the turnout. We knew there would be a turnout, but we are surprised with the amount of people. But we do know that the need is out there.
Today.
Everything good, perfect.
Did you get what you needed?
No.
But you're happy?
Yes, I'm happy.
Well, Feeding South Florida is planning on more drive-through distributions in the future. Yesterday morning, we told you how only a few people showed up to a distribution at a Southwest Miami-Dade church. Well, that changed yesterday. Dozens of people wound up showing up at CDM Community Church, which held a distribution open to its members and to the community. Several farmers and restaurants whose food would otherwise go to waste donated in order to make this possible. And there are more events scheduled for today. We have a full list and more information on cbsmiami.com/coronavirus. And Jennifer, if people are heading out today, maybe to go pick up some food items or just maybe take a walk around the block, we are still enjoying some nice clear weather to do that.
That's right, Carly. So we don't have to worry about the rain today. Again, it is staying rain-free out there. However, it is going to continue to warm up each and every day.
Jennifer, thank you. Time now for Miami Proud. Every week we share stories of impactful people or places that make our community unique and proud. And I think that we could all use some good news right now. So this morning, CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez introduces us to this athlete whose attitude on life and the tough turns it can take is truly inspiring.
Teresa Terranova plays ping pong with razor-sharp focus and a huge smile.
Welcome back. This morning, churches, synagogues, and faith groups across America are turning to the internet to help people continue with their worship from home. And they say it's important now more than ever. A lot of people did this for the first time last weekend, and this morning, congregations big and small are streaming their services again. Many of them actually have to do this because it is illegal for them to gather in big groups, and they say it's becoming part of the new normal.
God only expects us to do what we have at hand and do the best with it.
We see each other and we're praying with each other, and it's a way of connecting, which in this time everyone's really looking for.
Faith leaders say it's also a good time to practice self-care and self-reflection and to not get discouraged. Still ahead on CBS 4 this Sunday morning. This is probably the first time most of us are dealing with a pandemic, but that's not true for Miami, how South Florida bounced back more than 100 years ago. And you don't have to be bored when you're safe at home. Lisa Petrillo shows us how to find some extraordinary performances online, including some from here in South Florida. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back.
This is CBS 4 News This Morning.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Carly Barnett. It's 7:30, and here's what we're working on right now. Testing trouble at Hard Rock Stadium. Some people who were tested for COVID-19 have to go back. Why they have to be tested again? And is Florida ready? Our Jim DeFede joins us live to discuss if hospitals and healthcare workers have what they need to stay safe. And let's take a live look outside this morning. Beautiful shot there. Jennifer says we are in for a sunny Sunday, but just how warm is it going to get? Let's get our first check of our Sunday morning forecast. And Jennifer, it looks like you have a beautiful photo to share with us.
I do, Carly. This one's taken by Sandra in Lauderdale by the sea.
Thank you, Jennifer. We continue with the latest on the coronavirus pandemic. So let's take a look at the local numbers first. This morning, a total of 3 people have died from COVID-19 in Miami-Dade County. 11 have died in Broward. And as the number of deaths goes up with more testing, so do the number of cases. There are more than 1,100 total cases in Miami-Dade, 820 in Broward County. A total of 22 people in Monroe County have died from COVID-19. And a Jackson Memorial Hospital nurse is among those killed by the virus in South Florida. Araceli Burundi Iligan worked at Jackson for 33 years. Her brother posted on Facebook saying she was treating patients with coronavirus when she got sick. But the hospital is not saying when or where she contracted the virus. She died Friday, and the hospital says that she last worked Tuesday. Several first responders and seniors need to be retested for COVID-19 at Hard Rock Stadium. State health leaders say the wrong test was used to take samples from some people. This happened at the drive-through testing site last Sunday and Monday. A spokesperson says everyone who was impacted was called to return. It's unclear just how many people were impacted.
There were some tests that were done in specimen collection kits that were not viral. They were bacterial. And you can't test for a virus in a bacterial culture medium.
Over the week, more than 4,000 people were tested at Hard Rock Stadium. This is an appointment-only site for people ages 65 and older with symptoms, as well as first responders. And for more on all of this, we're going to bring in CBS 4 investigator and host of Facing South Florida, Jim DeFede. Jim, good morning. Thank you for joining us via Skype this morning. Tis our new normal, right?
Good morning, Carly.
Well, Jim,
This is my home studio.
Well, we are glad to have you in our studio with us today via your home studio. And Jim, there just continue to be a lot of questions about whether hospitals and these healthcare workers actually have what they need. And you've been looking into this. So does Florida have what we need to handle this medical emergency?
Well, I think that if you talk to the hospitals and a number of the agencies, they'll say right now they do. Some of the healthcare workers who are on the front lines are very worried about it. They say they don't yet have it. But the real question is when the wave hits, because we haven't seen the worst of this yet here in South Florida or in the state. When that hits, will we truly be ready, or will hospitals be inundated? I had a chance earlier this week to speak to Jared Moskowitz, who's the head of the Division of Emergency Management, which is overseeing the distribution of things like PPEs throughout the state. And I had the conversation with him, and one of the things I started with by saying, tell me what you got coming in. And here's what he had to say.
We got about 500,000 N95 masks that came in over the last couple of days. I'm expecting another 1 million to come in over the next couple of days, and then 1 million after that, 1 million after that, and then another order for 2 million. So we are turning the page on PPE. What I'm concerned about with that, obviously, is the federal government is coming in and taking stuff off the assembly line, diverting vendors' orders to them just because of the huge buying power. And look, we get it. that they have lots of interest to serve. Obviously, there's a huge surge into New York, but that makes things obviously more challenging. And then obviously vendors don't live up to their obligations, and then it becomes just a vicious cycle of we order stuff, we think we're good, it's supposed to arrive, and then it doesn't arrive, or we get a partial shipment. And we're seeing that really on the collection swab case. That's the 2 swabs in the vial that allow you to actually take the sample. A lot of time was spent on the COVID-19 test kit. We have plenty of test kits. What we don't have is a lot of collection swabs to actually collect the samples. So that is hampering our ability to collect more samples and test more people.
Give me a sense of the numbers on the swabs. How many have you ordered and how many have you actually received?
Sure. We've ordered 950,000 collection swabs from one vendor, 200,000 from another vendor. I'm talking to Thermo Fisher directly, which is one of the main providers of this in the United States, trying to get it directly from the manufacturer, get it right off the assembly line. But look, we've ordered over 1 million of these collection swabs. We've probably received only about 20,000 of them so far. From our vendor, we got to push a little push from the federal government to help fill some gap while we're waiting for the vendors to fulfill their orders. But this stuff is just coming in dribs and drabs rather than the whole order being filled on a timely basis, which is what we were promised by the vendor 3 weeks ago.
Is it that cutthroat? Are you actually vying and competing with Texas and Arkansas and California and New York? Or has the fact that FEMA has come in to try to coordinate this made that better? Or is it still a cutthroat competition among the states?
Oh, Jim, we're competing with more than just 50 states. I mean, we're competing with everybody but Antarctica. This is a global crisis. There's only so many supplies to go around. We only have so much manufacturing capacity in this country. I mean, that's something that, people above my pay grade in Washington will have to look at going forward. We depend on, China, Italy, other countries, Germany manufacture things. And then obviously when they have crises in their state, it impacts our ability to import this stuff. So, obviously, New York is a dire situation. We here in Florida understand why there's a major surge into New York City, which basically, is adding over 100 cases an hour there. But this really is just the demand outseeds the capacity for all of this stuff. But right now, I would tell you, it's the wild, wild west of medical sales. So buying it from the manufacturer, buying it from a broker's broker, my brother's friend, my cousin's roommate. I mean, everyone is in the N95 business. I feel like the former folks from Lehman Brothers are now selling N95s. I mean, it's just everybody and their mother is gotten into this business. And so, look, I take several dozen calls a day, 100 different emails, and we have to do whatever we can to try to get this PPE, get it at the lowest price we can, but getting it is the most important thing so that we can serve the residents of the state of Florida, because this is life-saving stuff. It's life-saving stuff in the nursing homes. It's life-saving stuff in the ALFs. It's life-saving stuff for our first responders, our firefighters, our police officers, on the front lines in many cases, and obviously for our healthcare workers in the hospitals.
Now, I will tell you, Carly, that checking later in the week, the issue of those swabs is still a major concern for the state of Florida. So when you do a story earlier about how the Hard Rock, testing site has to redo tests, that's material that we can't keep reusing. Once you use those swabs, they go away. So this is still going to be a concern. And as I said before, the real peak isn't going to hit for about 3 or 4 weeks. And that's when they're going to need this stuff in a big supply.
These resources are precious, Jim. Now, from other conversations, of course, there's the health side of it, but another area of concern is the economic impact, of course. Hundreds of thousands of Floridians losing their jobs, applying for unemployment. It's long been a problem. So is the state ready on this front to process all of these claims?
That I can give a categorical no. The state of Florida is not ready to handle all of the claims. I mean, you're dealing with 20, 25, 30,000 claims a day coming into the state system. And this was a system that was originally designed to discourage people from getting unemployment benefits. Florida is one of the worst states in the nation when it comes to unemployment benefits. It gives the least amount of money for the shortest period of time and has the most cumbersome applying process. So I talked to, earlier this week, I had a chance to talk to the Secretary of the Department of Economic Opportunity. He oversees the unemployment unemployment insurance program in the state of Florida. His agency is the one you have to get your money from if you're unemployed right now. And I asked him, I said, all of these people are frustrated. What would you say to them? And here's what he had to say.
First, I'm going to ask our citizens to please be patient. I understand their frustration. You know, I was just telling you what we're doing every single day, but I'm going to hire at least 100 more people to help with the process. But let me tell you something. The week ending March 7th, we had 28,000 calls. The week ending March 14th, we had 224,000 calls. But again, we get it. We get the frustrations. But we ask our citizens to be patient because we're working hard and being very aggressive to be better and to serve everyone who needs us.
There's a perception that the system that you inherited, granted, you know, you didn't create this system, but that the system, many of the changes that were made under the Rick Scott administration when he was governor, basically set up a criteria that discouraged people from actually receiving benefits. Do you believe the system, despite this, needs overhauling so that people who are unemployed will get the assistance they need?
Let me tell you this. When I came in January 2019 and to today, I've constantly made sure the system is ready for a crisis. But I never predicted a crisis like this.
I'm talking about the underlying fundamentals of how we deal with unemployment in the state of Florida. I believe there's one study that says only about 12% of the people who are unemployed actually receive benefits in Florida. It's basically the design of the system, limiting the number of weeks, creating a system that until now you had to apply online, you had to show proof that you were seeking 5 jobs every week before you could qualify for benefits. That, in other words, the system was designed to discourage people from receiving the benefits they need when they're unemployed.
Yeah, I understand the question. Well, let me tell you this. Going into this crisis, unemployment was at 2.8% in January. You know, since the financial crisis 2008, we've seen, you know, number of jobs increase, job creators building companies, and seeing a strong economy leading into the situation. So by virtue of where we've been as a state economically, the Florida legislature decided on, you know, how much someone can receive, number of weeks they can receive benefits. So, you know, the entire leadership structure realized that we have a strong economy and was building this for temporary relief for someone who's out of work for a short period of time.
Now, I will tell you, Carly, that the process is still very slow. And one of the things that the secretary told me is that he has $4 billion in the Unemployment Trust Fund. At some point, the Florida legislature is going to have to come back in session and decide what they want to do and if they want to make improvements to this system. 1, to streamline it, and 2, to make it easier for people to be able to get access to some of that money. It's going to be a major issue, I think, in the elections to come.
A lot of people just playing the waiting game in limbo right now. Jim, thank you. We're going to see you again in about 45 minutes from now, around 8:30, and we will be speaking with Congressman Ted Deutsch. So stay with us for that. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This morning, many people are finding that the best medicine for stress during these uncertain times is music. CBS 4's Lisa Petrillo shows another way to find enjoyment while staying safe at home.
Tell me where I have to go.
Whether it's a soulful concert by indie artist James Blake held at
CBS 4 News.
Well, if you are a fan of the sun and the heat, then this forecast will be music to our ears, right, Jennifer?
Yes, that's right. Although it will feel like summer throughout this upcoming week as the humidity goes up and waking up in the 60s.
Jennifer, thank you. We will say thank you to a hero among us up next. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Every week in partnership with the Florida Panthers, we put the spotlight on a hero among us, men or women who have gone beyond the call of duty for our country. And this morning, CBS 4's Maribel Rodriguez introduces us to United States World War II veteran Edward Gall.
Edward Gall enlisted in the United States Navy in 1945 and served until 1946. CBS 4 News.
CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back. But first, here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck. Finally this morning, Miami's Brickell neighborhood lit up again last night, this time to Lionel Richie and Michael Jackson's We Are the World. While staying inside and social distancing, they used this as an opportunity to thank first responders and healthcare workers who who are on the front lines of this pandemic. We certainly thank them for the work they do. And we still have another hour of news ahead. Stay with us. CBS 4 this Sunday morning. We'll be right back.